was having really severe insomnia, and I knew that I was going through a major life shift. I knew there was a lot coming up for me emotionally, and I wasn't really sure what it was. Like, I couldn't see the things directly in my life that had really clean and clear answers for me. And I saw Sunil for 12 sessions. So I saw him 12 weeks. I came in weekly. And in that 12 weeks, I had just a tremendous amount of movement. I didn't start sleeping well right away. It seemed to kind of come after working with him. But the work that I did with him shifted everything for me.
My experience and of others that have come to see him, I can say that you'll see something immediately after the first session. You'll notice a shift. Even within the first 2 sessions, I felt like I noticed some dramatic changes. And over the time that I've been working with him, I can really see now even more subtle core changes that have really moved my life, and I can see the new direction that my life is going in, and it's always been a fun process.
I was experiencing just a constant unhappiness, despite most things in my life being just the way I wanted them to be. And it became obvious to me that I just could not unhook from what was bothering me from the inside out, no matter. And I've had therapy. I know many different kinds of spiritual practices, and I recognize I was just not getting anywhere, not making progress. Working with Sunil is very useful because it's clear that he cares, and it's clear that he's experienced in what he knows, in what he's doing.
I'm addicted to Coca-Cola. It's my lifelong friend since I've been 18 years old, and I'm in my mid-70s now, as of today. And I came here to improve that. To give up Coca-Cola is what my main option is. I left here one day and I had to stop and buy groceries, and I'm completely out of Coke at home. So my first objective in my mind is I gotta pick up Coke. That's the first place I go in the grocery store. No matter if I need aspirin, I go to Coca-Cola. And for some reason I got in my car and went right past the Coca-Cola, and I picked up water. Went home, and I haven't bought a case of Coke since then. And I used to go through almost a case a day.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Kevin Moore Show. Now, if you want to stay up to date with all my latest videos, just click that subscribe button below, as this really helps to support the show. If you're new to the show, I interview guests from a spiritual perspective, covering mainstream and alternative subjects and much more. Now, on today's show, I'm about to be joined by my guest, Sunil Van Maar. Now, Sunil is a renowned evolved lifestyle coach who is considered an expert in his field, and he offers his clients a one-of-a-kind approach that is unique, as it supports those he works with in reclaiming their inherent brilliance and achieving their fullest potential. Sunil knows that when people mind the river of their inner landscape, they find gold. For over 20 years, Sunil passionately explored energy work, self-inquiry and hypnotherapy, NLP, and found that in a deeply relaxed state, anyone can access the power of their unconscious mind and deep self to make radical shifts quickly and permanently. In 2006, he became certified in advanced clinical hypnotherapy and neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, from the Knightsbridge Institute in Portland, Oregon, USA. His spiritual enlightenment provides structure for others seeking their own life success, and he seeks to provide grace, humility, and hope, providing authentic inspiration to those that are lost. Sunil Van Maar, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
Well, I appreciate the support, Sunil, and I appreciate us connecting.
No problem.
I know we've got a lot to talk about, and there's never enough time. So I think let's just go straight into it. And to begin with, just tell us a bit about what you do.
I help people come back home to themselves. Basically, I help you reconnect with who you are, your truth, and I just remove all the mud. That's usually on, everyone's, the illusions that people are carrying. Get more clear about who you are, what you want, where you're going, and keep on track.
your website is? Because you've got a number of services on there as well, a number of things that you do on that website. Your website is?
I do, yeah. I help people with their business. I'm very gifted to be able to see what's really going on with somebody, why they're not performing, where they're, what is bothering them from their inside, from their past, right? What traumas, what inner child stuff is causing them problems. Where is their thought process? Where is it taking them from where they want to go compared to what their mind is actually wanting them to do? So we just have to unravel the belief systems, the patterns, the programming, the parts, whatever's going on inside. We need to integrate that, help you become more clear about what you want, and not listening to the voices of the past, right? The mother and father stuff, whatever we've got in our heads. We just want you to become more integrated and more clear about who you are.
Absolutely, because you've gone through this as well. And your website is?
I have, yeah, Kevin. I have, yeah, myself. And I can go into that. I can tell you that.
We're going to go into it. What is your website,
okay,
Sunil?
no
What's your website? Let's get that first.
Yeah, it's... sorry, I'm just a bit excited. Sunil.co.uk.
Excellent. Okay. Well, it may be a .co.uk for the UK, but that your services are international, and everything
Yes.
that you do obviously is online as well. So
It is.
let's just get into this backstory then, which you were touching upon there, that in the sense that everything that you're sort of teaching right now, or the modalities that you offer, are all part of what you've been through as well. So let's just to speak a bit about your journey.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's just look into your journey, because that links to a lot of what we're about to talk about, and how you've sort of mastered and gone past some of the issues that you were major things that you were going through at the time, and how you're helping other people with that now. So let's just go back in time. Let's go back before you were born in the UK.
I was, yeah.
Yep, you're back in the UK now.
I was.
But a big part of your journey was in America as well. So prior to going to America and having a family and everything else, what were you doing at that time? What was looking for? What was his direction in life at that point?
I was studying architecture, so I was going to a building college, and I was thinking in my mind I wanted to become an architect. And so I was doing the courses for that. And really, for me, even though I was doing all of those things, I wasn't really in touch with what my soul wanted, which was totally something different. Even though my mind was saying, okay, let's study architecture, my soul was probably telling me it wants me to actually study my whole interior. So everything on the outside for me, whatever I was doing, because I was completely disconnected from myself, and I couldn't really access my body. Yeah, so I was always living in my head most of my time, all the time.
What does that look like, do you think, for those that live in their head?
Yeah, it means that I'm always connecting to a program after program in my mind. So I'm following my mother and father's patterns or their programming, because I'm too terrified to be myself, too terrified to feel emotions, right? Which are the big key for anything.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Because that's sort of plastered all over your website, in a sense that emotions, being, as you say, the big key to our freedom, in a sense. Would you say it's mastering the emotions, or it's how would you term it?
I would say it's mastering. It is mastering your emotions. It's actually understanding when you are speaking. How clear are you when you're speaking to someone, and what actually is really coming out of your mouth? Is it your conditioning? Is it your parental programming? Who is it? Who is it that's speaking? So constantly, you're always looking at. I mean, this is how I do it. I'm always wondering inside when I say something, I go, God, am I being deluded right now when I'm speaking? is that the truth? Is that my being speaking that? Or is that some other form of me speaking that? So then I have to look at that and I have to feel into that and just release the energy that's inside of me. That's not who I am. Because you're always having to constantly change yourself because you're energy being.
What made you go to the States then? Were you following your highest joy, do you think?
No. I think that I went there because my ex-wife was there. I knew that at that time I didn't really know that I was going to have a child, so I was probably just following my sole purpose, right? To go to America, to meet her, to bring India into the world, and then a lot of it was because I was very sick. I didn't even know that I would catch an illness, which was to do with my legs, which manifested when I went there. Probably manifested 3 years after I got married. And then it started to get really worse. So it was really it was a trip about going to the States to find the key, or to find out the key to me and what I was carrying in my unconscious mind that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, because you've probably done a lot of previous interviews to this, and if people watched this interview compared to some others, they're all going to be different, right? But this is your sort of evolution, your journey now, and
exactly,
it's okay to change and to evolve into the best version of yourself, right? I guess you could call it that. Or when you know better, you do better, maybe.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So. Okay, so not long after you went to the States, you became ill, and you obviously I guess you didn't know. Did you know at the time that you were getting ill, or there was something not right, or?
No, what happened was that I had problems with I went to a random meeting with a doctor, and because I had some problems with one of my toes, two of my toes on both feet. And I just wanted to see what they would do to uncurl the toes. And actually, he called me because of that, and he said, you know what? I've been looking at your X-rays, and I had to pass these on to a really top medical doctor. And he goes, we've never seen anything like this. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, what you've got going on right now in your ankles. He goes, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're not going to have very long to live. And that's really what did it for me when he said that. And I was like, that really hit me out of the blue. Yeah, he said, there's a condition that you've got.
Yeah, right, because we're talking about we're talking about mid-90s or late 90s. I mean,
this is mid-90s when I was probably 96 time, yeah.
You're a bit younger then as well, which we all get older, but I mean, you wouldn't expect that at that age. And
really, no.
Did you share that news with your wife, or?
No, because we were separated at that time. She'd moved. Yeah, we were separated, and at that time, I remember I was just like, I didn't really know what to think, and so I just went home and just told a couple of friends, and. At that time, I wasn't really too connected to the fact that, I was going to die. For me, it was just like, just keep living.
What was it that they diagnosed you with then, if you don't mind me asking?
It was the ankles. The ankles were, normally on your ankle, right, you have the ankle bone. It's just all, you have the bone structure going into the foot and, the ankle system. But I didn't really have that. It was all smooth. So there was no ankle. It's just everything was smooth going into the foot. So even though he said that, for me, it was just like, I just put it off. I just thought, okay, and, but the more time went on, the more things started to get really bad for me in my feet. And I didn't really know at the time I had cancer in both my ankles. So, because both of the ankles were black, became black. And at that time I was working in the restaurant industry, so I was always on my feet. And I was always in pain, always in pain. And I was always taking painkillers. And But I was completely like checked out because I didn't really understand what exactly was going on with me. You know, it was complete numbness, complete checkout, and all I was doing was suffer, loving to. It was like this addiction to suffering. Very unaware of what my processes were inside of me.
Wow. Okay. So, did they recommend treatment for? I mean, what do they do? I mean, what was the sort of?
Well, what happened is that I became too terrified, right? And I was too scared. So what this tells me about me at that time was that even though I was like in my 30s, I was like a 3-year-old emotionally. I was a child inside. So obviously the child is going to be terrified. They're going to be like, you know, oh God, I'm going to die. And there's trauma there. There's trauma inside of you. So you're just avoiding you're really avoiding what we would do now. We would go there and get everything we could get to find out what's really going on.
Okay, so obviously having that diagnosis of the cancer, you know, you're over in the States, you know, you went there for marriage, and of course, you know, you had a family, and that family sort of, you know, you've had to part ways with each other because things weren't working out. That can only be very painful, and you know, and on top of that, you've got a diagnosis as well. So that's bound to put a very dark cloud over you.
It is, yeah. It's really, it's very. Again, it's like you just numb the emotions out and the feelings out, and you're not even realizing inside like there's a major problem. Yeah, there's something going on.
Yeah.
Until things break down.
Going. Yeah, until things break down. But do you think that that the cancer was the only way for you to wake up to what you should be doing in your life? Do you think this was part of your path?
Yeah, totally, Kevin. Yeah, totally. Yeah. It was God's gift, right? Because the more I was resisting it, the more I was fighting it. I wasn't coming into because not only did I have this going on, I had all this information that was always bombarding me. So I couldn't really. I had no clarity. So that I had too much information.
When did that start?
When I was a child. So I was always daydreaming. I was always checked out. There were traumas that happened to me that I didn't really, as a child, probably would not have known. And then on top of that, I wouldn't have known about the wounding, the wounding that we carry when we come into this earth. So there are many things that I wasn't aware of, but yet I always knew that I was too terrified to come into my body. I'd always live outside here. I just couldn't do it. It's too much for me.
Okay, what was the breaking point then? Where was the point when you said to yourself, "Okay, look, I've got to make a big change here. You know, something's got to change. It's either, you know, I feel I'm being pulled away from America back to England. What was causing that then as well? So I'm guessing then that you tell me if I'm wrong, but you were recognizing that you were having information sent to you. There was something trying to talk to you in a sense, and it was almost like would you say this was all part of your awakening?
It was all a part of me stepping into my power, right? Me understanding that I have these gifts, that, you know, God wanted something more for me other than just being a restaurant manager or being a sales manager. That there's a higher purpose waiting for me. If only I had the courage to step into myself and to let go of all the illusions or everything that I was carrying inside of me that I thought was real. So it was like I was just standing on other people's shoulders, my parents' shoulders, without standing on my own 2 feet.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It does. Did you enjoy anything about the restaurant business?
Well, I'll tell you something, right? It told me a lot about how I deal with stress, how I deal with situations that can come with the restaurant business. It's so unpredictable, right? Very unpredictable. When you manage people, you've got 70 people who have different personalities. number one, you're in pain yourself. So then on top of that, you're in charge of the revenue, the floor, all these things, and anything can happen at any one time in the whole thing. So you're always, I think for me, it just gave me a better understanding of my skill set of being calm, right, in every situation. So I'm not somebody who blows up. I'm not somebody who freaks out. For me, it was just I was able to see the big picture, and to not lose it whenever situations could become really skewed really quick in that industry when you're managing.
So what was that point then where you said, right, okay, this has got to change. I'm gonna, that click. What was the click point where you was like, I'm going back to the UK. I'm gonna do this. I'm leaving everything, because these are massive decisions.
Yeah. This didn't happen until you see, when I was in the restaurant industry, even though I knew it wasn't working, I did it for 7 years, right? 7 years of living in a fear-based restaurant industry structure. It was all fear-based, the company I chose. And so obviously at some stage, there was a place in me that was sabotaging it. So I would get fired. So I was doing my own sabotage, because I knew there was a conflict inside of me that says, I can't do this anymore. I can't operate in a controlled environment this way. And so I initiated myself getting fired. And then I went in another direction, working as a sales, like a weekend sales manager, and for a gym company. And I did that, but I didn't have to stand on my feet all the time. And but still, even though that was going on, still my body, I was going through a lot as well. And everything met its point. And then I tried to find help. So I would go to different people and say, what is really going on with me? Finding other healers. And some people were really good to share light with it. And then some people were not so good at sharing their light with this whole situation. And that really there's something that I learned for the whole experience, that you can only go to if you can. Many people don't usually do deep work. They don't usually do the deep work on themselves, whether they're healers or whoever they are. And I could always see that a lot of people were holding on to their own pain, right? Even though they were offering their healing work services and all of these things. And even though they wanted you to heal, there was a place in them that didn't want you to heal. They just didn't want to see that in you. And so for me, then I thought, okay, then if I'm going to do any kind of healing work, I've got to come from a place that I want people to heal, because I want to see that in myself. I want to see it in them as well. So you've always got to be really, I feel like you just got to be, if you're working on your own stuff all the time, there's no reason that you can be attached to what's going on with the other person. So that's what I learned that's what I learned about that whole thing.
Yeah, but you could apply that to a relationship though, couldn't you?
Totally. Really anything, right? Anything.
Just say that again, that last bit, because that's really powerful.
Yeah, just you can't be attached to anything, especially when you're working with people, or even when you're with somebody. You can't be attached to the outcome, right? You just cannot be attached to it. But the mind, right? The mind will do it. You will do it. But when you do that, you've got to clear it out of your system.
Yeah, do you know what I say now with any future relationship that I'm going to have? And I've said this before in past relationships as well. Look, you do what you want. Do what you want.
Yeah,
I don't care. You meet your friends, meet some guys. If they're, I prefer that you wouldn't cheat on me, right? Because I ain't going to do that to you. And as long as we've got those boundaries there, right? But I am not in control of you. Do what you want. It's your life. But don't we always want to be in control of it? And others, some of us, and
we do,
can lead to domestic violence for some people, right? Unfortunately,
it is, right?
Which is a big subject right now. We want to control everything, don't we? And we're in control of nothing, aren't we? What does a life look like of just letting go and just flowing?
I'll tell you, Kevin. It's always, for me, right? I'll give you an example. For me, right? I'm always clearing out information, right? information that comes into me, or whenever I think something, I'm going, is that really true for me? Is it really true? Is it really what I'm thinking? When the truth is right. Even though I understand healing, I know how to help people. I know how to heal things that go on with people. All these things. Just like you say yourself, right? We don't really know. What do we know? What do we know, right? It's really nothing, right, compared to what is really going on. And when I listen to what other people talk about the whole situation, about what's going on, for me, it's like, oh my God, I didn't know that. I wouldn't have known that. There's so much that's going on, right, all the time, that I don't think that even if we comprehend, we would just be like, holy shit, because there's a lot going on, constantly.
Yeah, and I think okay, so you obviously, and I so want to get into your healing work as well, but your story is important. So okay, you just then decided to let go. You just let go.
Well, it's more than that, right? When I went to America, and consciously, I was trying to heal my relationship with my father, right? I was trying to heal the father in me, and that connection I had with this very unhealthy male, right? So I was trying to heal that. And so then what happened is I would always see males who would have this, obviously an unhealthy relationship to themselves. And if they were a healer, it was just always like that. And so, for the journey that I went through in America, I ended up meeting people who were extremely dark, right? But I needed to experience that because I was looking to heal the father wounds inside of me that were very dark as well. So I had to go through that path, and to meet the healer that was really the opposite of light. Because my father, looking at my father, he was always he's always like dark. So through the journeys that I went through in America, just to see these places in me, and to experience these characters that came into my life who were really good at the soul contracts before this whole thing took place, to play the part of whatever part they had to play, so I would awaken to the truth.
Yeah, they all played a part, even though they may have been a wounded healer. They played their part perfectly.
Exactly.
Yeah, and to other people as well, and to other people.
Exactly, that's what they were doing. Right?
Some of these wounded healers, they do take advantage of people. But do you know what? Maybe there's some sort of deeper contract going on there.
There's something there that you can't really. You see, it was really hard for me, right, to really understand this simple concept. Everything that happens to you is an act of love, regardless of what it is. But how painful it is an act of love. And I never could really wrap my head around that. That everything, no matter how bad it is or traumatic it is an act of love, because it is all based on love, right?
Well, okay, when someone's life is taken, that's very difficult to see it from that perspective. But maybe
totally, right?
It's really impossible for a lot of people, right? And I get it. But maybe the act of love in that situation would be the lessons of what they came here to teach us. Maybe that everything's to teach us something, isn't it? Even if it's for a mass teaching. Yeah,
it's all based on even the teacher that I knew was extremely dark and demonic, yet wanted to come across as being loving and light, yet had an ego, was attached to his ego, was a great teacher for me, because this person was showing me that inside of myself, I had all these wounds, and I had this child that was just wanted power, right? So, or wanted this control or power, all these things. And so I had to go through those areas in myself in order to experience the most amount of pain. I mean, I have blood clots in both of my legs, right? And then there's so many things that happened to me that were always constantly testing me inside. Do you want to stay or do you want to go? Right? But because of the levels of pain in me, I was always like, oh God, I want to go. I wasn't really committed to being here fully, until the more that these experiences happened to me, the more that they forced me to own my power, right? To stand in my power and say, I have these skills. I can transmute basically anything that comes my way because I understand energy, and this is who I am. I'm a great healer. So I would not have, unless I would have woken up, I would never have seen that about myself.
Where does the family fit into this then? I mean, obviously you had a family at the time, and what was, without giving too much away, because obviously there's real people out there, right? And I know you love them, but what was the contract with them, do you think, as to why that was so short, and could it have been any different to what it was?
Well, when I was up there, right, I understood that the contract I had with, the lady who I was married to was really a contract just to have a child. That I understood it. I understood that, and I also knew with my daughter that she had chosen me for a reason to be her father, and I'd obviously chosen her. And my inside of me, what I wanted for her was to be free. But the only way I could do that was to set myself free and to give her back her power. That's really what I wanted for her, to give her back her power, so nobody would be able to play any kind of games with her in her life. So it all had to stop with me. That's how I saw it.
So maybe then that is the experience that she had to go through with growing up without you there is something
Totally.
is something that maybe she would always say, I didn't want that experience, I wouldn't choose that, I would have wanted the opposite. But maybe at some level that we don't understand, maybe in this lifetime that was what she was meant to, and she wanted, her soul wanted. But
experience.
It's easy for us to say that. She's the one living it.
It's difficult for her to understand that.
Yeah, that's the way you would see it maybe now.
Yeah. I mean, I realized with her when I had her, I said, because I knew that I didn't want her to carry the stuff. I didn't want to pass anything unhealthy to her. I didn't want that for her. I didn't want her to carry the ancestral stuff on my side. So I knew that if I deal with all this stuff, then I'm giving her a blank slate. The only thing she's got to do is clean up her wounds towards abandonment, rejection, all these things that she's carrying. So, but the heavy stuff, the heavy duty stuff, that stuff I took care of.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because I can imagine at her age as well that this type of talk, it's not always, it takes time to even want to look at this type of stuff. I mean, look, we're both a bit older, right? Yeah, and most people awaken quite an older age. I mean, not for everyone, not for everyone. But yeah.
No.
Okay, interesting. Thank you for that. So, trying to move this on then, because it's there's lots to this. There's lots to this. So, take me to the point where you've just decided that you're leaving.
Yeah, I got my everything. Well, it was before that actually. There's I used to listen to this guy called Adi Ashanti a lot. His words always used to like whenever I was having. Whenever the mind would get really upset and it was just really like unbalanced, I'd always put his CD on, and his words was just completely connected direct to my heart. And there was something that he said right in one of his interviews where he talked about awakening, and he made this prayer that to the universe that he wanted to be free no matter what. And he wanted to be completely free of the past, all these things. And I remember when I heard that, and this is all timing, right? When I heard that, there's a place in me said, write it down, say the same, because this is free, this will set you free. And at that time, I knew that there was dark stuff that I couldn't find the key to like let go of. Because it was so deep. There's levels in me, And so I made that prayer, and I sincerely asked the universe from that place. I just made that prayer. And, well, I had an office, I had a house and everything. And slowly and steadily, my time in America as I lived there started to feel like it became a burden for me to be there. I just didn't feel, I kind of lost my passion in a sense. And probably because it was the people I knew, the bad influence, having the wrong person in my life. And what was happening was that my energy was getting siphoned off. And which just made me more and more depressed inside. And I just started missing my home and everything. And so I just got I renewed my passport. And the minute I renewed my passport, that's when everything started to close down in America for me. It just started to close down. And I thought, God, I've got these things. And I said, you know what? It doesn't define me owning a car and a property and renting renting an apartment and a property. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to leave it. And I had a woman who was working for me, and I said, look, will you close everything up and sell it all? And she goes, yeah. And I had another friend who asked her too. And it was just the way that things happened, right? Everything closed, and I just left everything to them, basically, and just walked away.
So you arrived back in the UK.
Paid all the rents.
Yep. When you arrived back, did you know you'd done the right thing at that point when you got back?
Well, yeah, for me, it was like thank God, right? It's like because in a sense it was like I'd left something behind me, and it felt like it was a dream, right? For me at that time when I came back, I was like, did I really was I really in America? Did I really have a life there? And I had to ask some friends as well, and they were like, yeah, you were here, you did all this, and I was like, okay, that's all right, because I wasn't aware that. When I came back, right, there was a lot of things that started to happen to me, right? There was the influence.
Were you in shock?
Yeah. There was a lot. There was an interaction I had with a person who was like very dark, right? So this person kind of like used up, just wasn't a good influence on me, and so there was a lot of like father stuff, right, that had to be dealt with. And at this time, right, I was not fully aware of the depth of my skill set, my skills as a healer. I wasn't really, even though I worked as a hypnotherapist and I worked with lots of people doing healings and everything, I wasn't aware that I had this. I was really extremely gifted, and so coming back here meant for me that I had to do all the groundwork, right, Kevin? The groundwork was I had to grow up, right? At probably 47 years old, I had to do the groundwork to heal my inner child, to give my inner child what he wanted as far as the needs that I neglected and pushed aside, right? So it was a lot of work when I came here to look at myself. And then I had all this energy that was coming into me even more. And so and at that time I was very suicidal because I didn't know really what's going on. And then the awakening was happening as well, because I could feel this energy coming out of my head. I could feel like all these systems uncoiling in my head. And I was like asking people, I was like, what's going on? Because I was terrified because I couldn't speak to anybody about it. What are you going to say? I've got all this energy that's going off in my head all the time. It's like a wave that goes like that, and then it goes like up and down, And I would remember people who I had often met who went through awakening who'd committed suicide because they, on the other end of it, they just were like, oh no, God, I want to go back. So I knew when that was going on that there's no coming back from this, because with you letting go of whatever systems that mind systems that were created, what it means is that the more you heal, you get to stand in your own truth and no one else's.
Let's fast forward then in the UK. So you're sort of kind of going through the dark night of the soul, yeah? And I'm guessing you were around a number of different people that were trying to help you, or maybe you had gone to seek help from healers or people with different modalities, maybe?
Yeah. Actually, I came back here, right? I was going through the dark night of the soul. I went to one church, and this woman says, I remember, she was a pastor there, right? She goes, I specialize in warfare, spiritual warfare. And she was telling me nicely that I'm broken all the time. And I'm like, I'm broken, right? And then I'm like, really? And so even though there was a lot going on with me, there was a place in me inside, there's an intelligent place inside that said, that's really not true. There's no such thing as a broken soul or a broken being, right? And so, but I still, right, I would go to this, I would go there because I was looking for God outside of myself, right? I was doing that because I was raised in a family where they would put the picture of their saints on the wall, and and in India they give their power away to everyone. That's how they do it. They give all the people there, they give their power away because of these contracts they have with each other, and it's all about giving the power away. So what happened is when I went to these churches, I would always find people who would lovingly take your power, right? They would lovingly do that. But there was one experience I had with one church where the guy was doing these healings, and I felt this presence come inside of me and move out, and I was like, "What is that?" And then the guy and his wife goes, "You have the Holy Ghost in you." And I felt that. I felt something come into me, really. I felt this connection to Christ, more and more. But I felt it. I felt something genuinely came inside. It doesn't mean that after that, that you think you've been touched by, Christ and everything will be great. It just means that you're waking up, right? That you're stepping into your gifts, you're stepping into who you are. And you have to excavate to unveil the diamonds that you carry.
Where did India fit into your journey then? Because you went back to your motherland.
Right.
You was born in England,
India.
I believe. Oh, no, was you born in India?
I was born in England. And we went to India. Well, there's one thing I missed out. When I came to England, I was going through a Saturn return, right?
Oh, what a great time.
I was going through a mini Saturn return.
Right.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
Right? It was the worst experience of my life because it was like somebody was destroying my brain, right, for 24 hours a day. I was on the high strength sleeping tablets, and I couldn't even sleep because not only that, I had somebody put curses on my head as well, so they scrambled my thoughts. So I had all these things going off, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I want to kill myself," because I couldn't explain to anybody really what was going on. And so, with the Saturn return, mini Saturn return, suddenly my eldest sister's daughter was getting married in India. And she wanted us to go, and I was like, I can't do that. I'll die if I do that because I can't sleep as it is. And my mother was like, no, I've got to go. And she goes, you have to go. And it was one of those things where peer pressure, right? And so I thought, okay, if I go to India, that's it for me. Then I'll probably top myself because I had no peace inside because of all of this stuff going on in my head. And I couldn't even think. I couldn't even do anything. Right, because my thoughts were so scrambled that I was like terrified that I'd top myself. I would easily do it. And so we went to India, and again, it's like things over there. Even though it was a wedding, I was still very, very distraught inside. Very distraught.
Can I ask you? Did you think you were coming back from India?
I don't think so. No, I thought I was going to kill myself there, basically, because it was too much for me. I didn't really, Kevin, at that stage when I went to India. I had no idea. That I had it within me to turn the whole situation around with patience and love and care and help.
What would you tell your younger self now, what you know now at that period, what we're talking about? What advice would you have given if it was something that
I
you
would
give to
say
people
get
now?
help right immediately. Don't just sit on it. If you're going through something that's really horrific, get help, right? Do something about it. Never ever, even remember, all of us, right? Sometimes all of us, right? We need that guidance. We need that support, right? Sometimes we get lost. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we can end up in situations where we're like, what do I do? What the fuck do I do? Where do I go? It's too much for me. It's too chaotic. And it was just a really intense time for me. And then with India also, what happened is that I felt this energy all the time on me when I was in India, and I was like, what is really going on with me? And I really started to understand that I was being cleansed, right, while I was in India. So as the time came to end in India, something happened to me where I was sitting in the living room, and then as I was sitting there, everything's speeded up in front of me. Everything's speeded up. It's like all my family members became like characters, and they all were like suddenly like they were in a fast forward motion in front of me. So, and I was and what I found out about that was that I had a life review as I was in the living room, but I chose not to go. So it was pretty powerful. Yeah, I chose to stay.
Do you feel that did you leave your body at that point? Did you go through a tunnel? What, when you say you had a life?
I could have gone through. I could have gone through I think I was semi-leaving the body, right? That's the only reason I think you experienced something like that. But I got to see that everybody in my life was just a character. They were just a character. That's all they were, a character fulfilling a contract with me. That's all they were doing. That's all it was all about.
How did you? Was that a download? Was it? Did you visually see something, or what
no?
Was
it was just like what happened was when I was just sitting there, everything happened in such a way that imagine that you're sitting there watching something, and suddenly the people in you they start speaking like cartoon characters, but everything speeds up in front of you a bit fast. It becomes really. It's like everything is fast, like really quick, right? But I had a friend of mine who I called when this was going on, and he was like, "You just stay in your body, right? Just stay in your body. Don't do anything. Just stay in your body." And through that, even though at that time for me it was like it's an easy way, right, to just leave. I could have gone because I heard that you could have gone, but there was a greater place in me that said, no, you're needed here, stay. So I stayed. And there must have been a deeper decision in me to really meet all the dysfunctionality that I carried inside of myself, to finally stand up to it all and to resolve it and to meet it, which is what I set out to do.
How much did things change at that point, or soon after that? Do you think? I mean, what was that? How pivotal was that point?
Well, it took about 2 years, Kevin, to really work through a lot of stuff. Right. By that time, my skills started to come online inside. Right. I started to understand that I had many lifetimes of training as a healer, many lifetimes. So all of these things started to come back to me. Right. So I understood a lot of things about my teachings that I learned about the body, quantum physics, all these things. And then I just realized the more I was around people, the more I was starting to remember, oh God, I know all this stuff. It's like I had this really deep amnesia of really forgetting who I am, forgetting that I'm a very advanced soul, that I do have these abilities inside to completely, help people.
Yeah, wow.
But you have to go through that.
Yeah. What a thing to start remembering. Yeah. I mean, what help did you get to start remembering that, though? I mean, was there any sort of support?
It was like when I went to the church and then I saw the lady she was holding a duality, right, of light and dark. So she was holding the light and then the dark forces at one end. So she was keeping people stuck in between. And I saw that the more I was healing my stuff, I was like, what is really going on here? And then I I just knew that she's holding people with contracts, right? She's getting people into these contracts and sticking them, making sure they don't leave the church. But I saw it clearly. And then when I would go to the services and I would see people sing, and they sing about the devil, and they were like, suddenly I started looking at them like little kids, right? As they're singing about these tunes about the devil's coming around the corner and all these things. And I was looking, and I would look at their faces and I go, do you really believe that? And that's when I knew that there's like, I totally understood at that point when this whole thing experience happened, that it's the contracts, right, that bind people, that get people stuck, giving their power away. And I had to look at my own family, and I had to look at myself. And then the more that my gifts came in, the more that I realized I had to shut down all the contracts that I had with everyone in order to get my power back, in order to stand fully into who I am.
Yeah, but I mean that's almost like it's almost like healing your mental health as well at the same time.
Exactly, yeah, because you don't realize that you've got ancient contracts, right, with some of your siblings that could go on, could have been set there for lifetimes, right? Where they're siphoning off your power because you're unconsciously giving, and you're never at optimum. You're never at optimum. You're never 100% in anything, because they're taking, you're giving your power away to them unconsciously, and they're doing really well, and then they abuse you on top of it because they're reminding you.
So okay, so a scenario could be, you've never got on with your family. Every time, you've had problems, loads of problems in the past, and you've tried at a late stage in life to try to fix it, and nothing wants to change. So what do? Do you keep trying to involve people in your life that don't really want to be there, or do you walk away and say, I've done my best?
No, you change yourself, right? Remember, it's this formula, right? That look, if you the hardest thing for anyone to really admit is that they're dysfunctional, right? They've got dysfunctionality inside of them. They have these dysfunctional parts of themselves, right? The one who likes anger, the repressed rage, the one who likes dysfunctional relationships, the one who's like the one who has to bleed suffering all over the place, right? The martyr, the victim, the rescuer, all these things.
Always someone else's fault.
Yeah, it's never anyone's anything until you say, I'm going to clean up my own shit, right? And regardless of what that takes, and then you can see the characters inside of you. Whether or not you want to participate is up to you. But you've got to be the one who cleans up your own stuff. And you've got to have the guts to clean it up all the time, because remember, right, energy systems can change in 24 hours. There's new energies coming in all the time. And these energies are designed, right, to wake us up, to stand fully in our power, because we represent the earth itself. We represent the dysfunctionality of the earth. The more we clean up ourselves, then the earth starts to vibrate even higher.
Well, I've always said, and I try to say that, if we want to see a mass change yourself to begin with. Start with you. Yeah,
you're totally true, Kevin. Yeah, totally true.
Yeah. I'm not saying that some people aren't drawn to bigger projects. I'm just saying that, if you want to, changing yourself is just so important. But yes, I mean, there's lots of dysfunctionality, isn't there? Especially relationships. And like you say, I bet you get clients come to you that, well, he was bad, she was bad, the next one was bad, they're all losers, why, then this person did this to me. And sometimes you must have to get them to say whatever they need to say. And then it must be like, well, hang on a minute. Where is this in you? And some of them won't want to even go there. Well, maybe, do you think they do like to go there because they're at the stage of being with you in that moment? Otherwise, they wouldn't be there if they didn't want to go within.
I mean, I just go straight into the. Sometimes people have to talk about something, right? Because the mind wants to talk, and then, but for me, it's like, let's just do it. I'll tell you, and I usually tell people this is how I work. And and what I'm doing is I'm holding space for you to step into those places that are terrifying for you. The more you step into those places, the more then you can let go of what you consider to be like a mountain. But we're always we're always looking to train people to do this stuff so that they can actually do it themselves, right? But it takes a bit of time until people go, can I handle the intensity, of the emotion that's trapped in my body? And most people really can't until they get really strong inside.
Okay, so at what point then? I mean, obviously you came back to the UK. Where did you get yourself checked out to see where this cancer, how the cancer was progressing in your body? Because obviously,
well, I did. Yeah.
It's a free healthcare over here as well. So
it is. Yeah. It is right. But I think for me, it was like again, I was my inner child. My inner child was still not resolved. It wasn't resolved. And all they do over here is they're very good at scaring you, right, with good terminology. So, and for me, it was like, shit, it's like, this is really, I don't want to get depressed when I go to these doctors. And so that's when my gifts started waking up inside of me. I started to understand about the systems in the brain, the systems in the body, and all of these things. And it's just the system, right? And so then I knew that all the wounds that I carried the answer for the diseases that I was experiencing in my body because of the wounding. So I knew that all the wounds, whatever the wounds are, whatever the diseases are, they can either be like, societal, right? So we carry within us, sometimes some diseases can be, some people carry these different types of diseases that they've been plagued with their whole life, right? And they're like, and some people are just, they give up, they go to the medical people without even knowing that these diseases are what we call like the society's core wound, right? The actual diseases itself. So the diseases that if you have cancer or if you have like heart problems, this is something that humanity is dealing with, that you've been given because you're supposed to deal with it yourself. And I didn't know all that. I didn't know that I carried all these, I didn't know that I carried all this information my whole life, that I actually hold the gift for people to actually heal. I didn't know that until I started doing it on myself. And for me, it's just easy because I'll give you an example, right? When the COVID thing happened, right, I had a mini stroke. And because I thought I did all the stuff that was required for it to clean it out of my system, but I didn't know that it gave you a blood clot. And I didn't know that part. And so that together with something else from my life, my childhood, suddenly all clashed together and I had this mini stroke. And I remember I was like, something's really wrong because I couldn't walk. And at that time, this whole thing was going off in this country where people were a bit terrified to go to the hospitals. And so I remember I had this healer, and I asked her, I said, "Can you check my heart?" Right? And so she was working on my heart. And but then I knew that I couldn't work with her 24 hours a day. I'd have to do this myself. And so I knew that I had to be very courageous to clean up all the damage that the stroke did in my brain and the whole system, because it usually affects the left side of the body. And but I also knew that, okay, you could probably die doing it. And I thought, oh, it doesn't matter. Let's just do it. And so I would go through all the trainings or everything that I knew in my soul to do, so that I could clean up the traumas of having that stroke had done to my body. And that's what I did. It took me 3 months to do it without hospital. Yeah.
Wow. And what do you think the stroke taught you?
Well, it just taught me even more that I'm very gifted, right? I have these gifts as a healer. I've got to a point now where, Kevin, I had there was a past life injury that where somebody shoved a sword into my left shoulder. Suddenly that materialized like 3 months ago. And I tell you, I couldn't even move because I was like somebody debilitated my whole body. And so that I knew I had to repair the joint I have this ability, right? So I can look at my body and I can see visuals. So I can do remote viewing of the whole system, and so I can see a gash in the shoulder. So it took me probably about a month to repair the whole system on my shoulder and the dislocation of it as well. And what that taught me is that I understand that this is a quantum field, that I'm in the quantum, right? So I get that, I understand that. And I know that when I work with people, I'm working with holograms, I understand that too. So I'm just holding the space for people to step into that awareness of who they are.
Okay. One thing I just want to ask you as well is with the cancer, just so I'm clear about that. So when you came back, the cancer in the ankles, when did the healing take place for that, and how did it take place?
Yeah, it's gone because I realized. You see, what happened with me is that I just realized that all these things, all these imbalances that happen to us are just energy. That's all they are. They're just energy. And we as humans, right? We're very, even though we say don't identify with something, we do it. People do it unconsciously. They identify because they're like, oh yeah, oh, they go, oh shit, why did I say that? Oh, excuse me, why did I say that? So, but there's never anything lost because you can undo what you say to yourself. You can undo all these things. It's within you to heal. It really is within you to step into your own power and just change the imbalances that you carry.
Okay, so you was able to change an imbalance you were carrying, and then you must have had some other or more tests done in the UK, and what was it, in remission or something, or?
No, it wasn't necessary because I knew that my answers were not going to come from medical people. I knew also that my instincts, my intuition usually is very, very, very solid, and so I knew that the more that I healed my wounding inside and the disease wounding, because disease is just a thought pattern, right? That you've held onto, or you made to be, you think at some level it's real. So when you believe it's real, right? Then the more you think that, then you get depressed, and then you start thinking that you can't do anything about it, without even realizing that it's just a program, right? It's just a system, whatever. That's all.
But what about those who do die from let's keep with it, the C word, cancer?
Yeah. Right?
But do you think
Totally.
do you think though that no matter how much work they did on themselves, with what you're suggesting, that maybe, just maybe, that there's bigger things playing out, that this is part of what they're supposed to go through, or this is their time?
Well, you have to remember one thing, Kevin, right? Some diseases, some things that people carry. I'm going to have to turn the lights on. Can you see me?
I didn't even realize how dark it had got there. Do you know, I was so enthralled into
it. Yeah. Dark.
Let's get some light on.
Anything that somebody is born with, right? We're all born with something, right? Some people have a disposition to alcohol or all these things, right? Or whatever it is. Depression, chronic problems, What I've learned about all these things is that, because I had addictions to sugar that I had my whole life, and I had to be present until I broke the programming by bringing conscious awareness to it. I had to break this programming that I was carrying probably from the ancestors, but I had to do it consciously. Sometimes when you look at these imbalances in your system, you may have to clear it out of probably 30 or 40 or 50 times until the whatever is showing you on the skin has gone. You will have to keep doing it until it disappears out of your system. And you can't really you can't get attached to it, right? Because you don't need to get attached to it, because all it is energy, right? Because you are energy. You just believe at some level that it's real. That's what my understanding of everything now is. So whenever things happen, I just go, okay, the hologram that I carry knows about it. It has this body, and it has all these, these systems inside and everything. But if you deconstruct it and take it all back to when it wasn't like that, you can do that. You can reverse it. You can reverse a lot of things by not falling into the pity party, all of these things, but just realizing that you can take everything back to before all this happened.
Right. Yeah. Or almost feeling what it was like to feel the way you felt before. Yeah. That whatever it is, that's
exactly.
in your, and
before
to bring,
it set in.
Yeah. And to bring more of that into the present moment. That's interesting.
I'll tell you. There was one of the things that I realize is that when something happens to people, right? Something happens, like when you have an incident where you have a shock incident where something happens like traumatically to your body, the body itself captures an incomplete experience in the system. So you have to release that incomplete experience from your system. You have to release it. Then you have to keep removing the levels that you've identified with that have created the problem in the first place. But the incomplete memory of it, whatever it is, has to be taken out of your body. And how we do that is we just ask the body to show me the incomplete experience. And the body then lights up, it shows you, and then you just feel into that until you feel a jerk in the system. And that means that the memory is being cleaned out of the body. Anything you experience, whatever, if it's traumatic or if it's anything that like push you in hospital, you have to go through the incomplete experience of why you got there. What was the reason for it? And remove it from the body.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because in your work you feel well, I normally use the word that, I'm a soul having a human experience, but I think you also look at it from the perspective that this is some sort of holographic experience. That actually, we are. It may be something that's we're in control of. Would you say? But it's almost like a simulated universe. It's they talk about this, don't they? Some people nowadays. Yeah. If I'm using the right words, I hope I am.
You're using the right words, yeah, Kevin. You did. I know you've done a lot of talks and stuff as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's how you feel that this is just sort of like.
I totally do.
An avatar that you're.
I know that. I know for a fact that I'm in a holographic universe, and that the body itself carries the information, right? So it carries the information. You just have to be willing enough to. You can upgrade the body. I feel the systems in the body, all these things. It's totally in your hands. There's blueprints available. There are templates available. There's a lot of things available. But it's just having the understanding of basic quantum physics, right? And just having the courage to realize that you too can undo whatever you've experienced. But we're not saying this whole conversation we're having with each other. We're not recommending it to people just to do things without getting the aid of a doctor or something. They must do that. A lot of people don't have the skill set I have, right? They wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it until they become very advanced enough that they're comfortable with this, what they know about how to heal. But still, it's always good for some people to see stuff and information and move from there. Yeah.
Absolutely, it is. Now, you offer a number of healing services on the website, and okay, let's just go to one of them, which everyone will know of: past life regression. So, why do you offer this service, and how does it work for people in your understanding of it?
Yeah, past lives are usually help people understand why they're doing a certain habit. Right. I'll give you an example. I used to do group past life regression therapies with people in America. And I remember when I would do them with them, I would always ask them, what was it like for you? And some people would come back with some amazing stories, and I would be like really, really shocked, right? But there was one instance where I had one lady, and she came back, and then she told me, I says, what happened to you? What did you experience? She goes, well, now I know why I experienced being raped by somebody. She goes, well, that happened because I was a king, and she goes, when I was in the village, I told all my men to basically rape all the women and kill, just like kill everyone. So for her, it was abuse of power, right? So she got to see that. So some people may be doing a certain habit that they're really unaware of, and then usually with these memories, when you bring the memory forward and a person sees it and it integrates into the body, then they can start to understand that, yeah, this is something that I've been acting out my whole life since a kid, since I was a child.
And again, the past life regression that you offer, that's obviously remote, like a lot of all of the work that you're doing right now is.
It is, yeah, it is. There's two ways, right, to look at it. When I work with people now, right, when I go into the experiences that people are carrying in their body, oftentimes the experiences that are carrying in their body are usually linked to the past lives. So when you go into the wounding that a person carries, right, and they could be like, it could be really something very dramatic that's plagued them for their whole life, and it can go far. It could go 100 years back. And some people, when you do that with them, they're like, "Oh wow," because they can feel it like a contract or a cord dissolve. You can feel an attachment dissolve at some level. So the body carries everything, right? The body, when you look at the wounding, you look at the core wounds that people carry. Everything I see, everything is like a wound. I just see it like a core wound for people. I see these diseases as like modules, right? Built-in modules into the body. So the more you go feel into wherever the disease is, you're accessing a module, and you're just going. And you don't know how deep it is, but you may have to keep doing that for 2 or 3 years until the system starts to change. Because it could be you could have been dealing with that for many lifetimes.
So everything that you're doing with the past life regression then is all built towards pulling out the issue that you've got right now, basically. And
exactly, yeah.
I bet you've had some fascinating times where they've gone all over the place to where these issues are coming from.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Where did you?
It's like
what technique did you? Where did you learn that? And just you were just going to say that. So I know we keep talking over each other because we've both got loads to say.
I learned it in Portland. I just took this hypnotherapy course, and I remember I knew when I took the course, right, I was always told that the only way you're going to learn it is when you do it with people. That's the only way you're going to learn it. And then what happened is the more I did it with people, because I did a lot of stuff, and usually what I found is that when people would talk about past life regression, past lives, I knew with my experience that the body itself, it holds the memories in those wounds that people carry. So if the wound is rejection, if the wound is abandonment, if it's fear, if it's terror, the more you keep working on those wounds, the more then the system itself starts to clean itself out. But you've got to you've got to keep working on the whatever the core wounds that you're carrying inside, that if it's separation, whatever it is, you have to keep dealing with it.
Well, what's the most common sort of wounding that people come to you with? What's sort of the most common issues that people come to you with?
Probably it's going to be separation, right? Rejection, separation, abandonment, fear, terror. People carry a lot of stuff. If it's abusive relationships, you're attracting abusive partners, right? Then it means inside of you're attracted to somebody who's narcissistic, or you are attracted to the theme of abusive relationships. I mean, if you can look at it from that point of view, right, that, okay, I'm attracted to dysfunctional people, dysfunctional relationships, and then start working on that inside of, clearing it out inside of you, taking it for a test run in your life, right? And if you still are doing it, then you've got to look at, okay, now what am I doing? Why am I going in this direction? Until the direction starts changing. Because you have to heal those dysfunctional areas within yourself. The more that they heal, the more that they come together, the more that you feel complete, the more that you can offer that to somebody else. And I think sometimes we all have this unrealistic viewpoint of a relationship without even realizing that we're going to attract the opposite of how we are. That's how I see that.
Yeah, I think we've all been, a lot of us, not all, but a lot of us have been through dysfunctional relationships and and abusive ones. And what changes? What changes for someone to stop that pattern? Well, maybe I guess they've worked on themselves a bit.
I'll give you an example, right? For me, it was like I had to. My whole journey for myself was no longer marrying my mother, right? The mother. So what happens with a lot of guys is that they marry their mother unconsciously. They just do that. It's just built into this whole system. Girls marry their father. And so, but when the father understands that mechanic and gives back the child their power, right? You see, with my daughter, my whole thing with her was to give her back her power, and I wanted her to be free. So it's like I was saying, I'm setting you free, so you can live you're free. Listen, when you understand that, when you actually understand that she's a gift, right? That soul is given to you as a gift, but it's not for you to own. It's for you to assist, help them step into their power and to fly. Most parents will never do that. Most parents are afraid to see their kids fly off.
And
codependency, right? Codependency.
Yeah, and I guess some people do not marry their version of their mother or their father, and maybe
some people
maybe they've got something else worked out where they've got past that stage. Maybe it's the second marriage.
Yeah.
Second time's the best.
Maybe. I mean, let's just rephrase that, right? There are probably people out there, especially now, who are more aware of this than it was probably 20 years ago. There are probably people. That's what I want to say. I don't want to say that people are unaware, because they're not. Many people are becoming very hip now to what's really going on. Why relationships don't work and all these things.
Well, would you say then? Well, then it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? That if we really do choose our parents, and we do take a lot of their issues into our life experience, with whatever way we do that, whether it's the way we can't deal with relationships or the way we whatever it is, right? There's so much, you can say, well, that's from my mum, that's from my dad, right?
Yeah.
I think there is a point where you get to recognize that and you say, no more. But is that an awakened person recognizing that, or is that? I mean, you don't have to call yourself awakened to recognize it, but maybe you're just aware that you
maybe it's your time, right? Maybe the spark in you lights up and says, I don't want to experience this. I'm done with it. It's too much pain. It's too painful for me, right? This again comes down to your wounding. Yeah. When you heal, if you look at the wounding patterns that you have, whatever they are, whatever the themes are that play out in your life, if it's abandonment, rejection, it's need reaching out for love or something like that. And the more that you realize that my child's the one who's usually choosing the partner, not me. It's just, and the more that you have awareness with that, the more you're able to heal those aspects of you. Then it can change.
Yeah. And it's all worth healing, isn't it? I mean,
it totally is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are your number one asset. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, why do we want to heal any of this stuff? It's because we want. Well, we just want something. We want the better version of ourselves, don't we? We want the
Yeah, yeah.
happiest life that we can live. We want to, feel
Right.
all those great things that we know we
Yeah.
deserve.
Totally. It's there for. I think it's there for everyone, right? But we've all come into this planet, which unfortunately has given us all relationships that are very challenging to deal with, because many people don't have the skills, right, to realize that it's just the other person is showing up in your life to show you about the unresolved places inside of yourself that need to be healed. It's just that simple. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong. Yeah,
absolutely. So relationship is something that you do as well. I think on your website you actually do call it. Well, yeah. I mean, you call it relationship coaching. Maybe it's the same thing as what we're discussing here. I think
it is, right. Energy coaching, right? We're just healing. We're just helping you understand when you go, well, it's her fault, it's his fault. We're bringing it back to you, so you realize, hang on a minute. This is it's all my creation. It's no one's fault. These are just contracts for me to heal, right? So, and some contracts can be really tricky, right? They can be very painful, but they're designed, and that person could keep taunting you all the time until you are the one then who realizes that I've ever got karma with this person. And perhaps I need to heal this karma, and I need to clean out the wounds that I carry that are attracting this person.
Yeah, because some people may say, well, look, you know what, no relationships are easy, which they're not, right? And to be in a relationship that's devoid of any arguments or any sort of conflict or any sort of growth,
you can't avoid it.
You know, that's not going to happen. But I think they can be a lot easier, and when they come from love, and when everyone's in balance with with themselves as well. I mean, when do you know you've healed it? I suppose when it doesn't show up anymore. But
you probably yeah, that's right. When you remember, right, it's all like nobody knows how long a relationship is going to go for. Will it go to the end of time? Will it go for a month, 2 months? You just don't know these things. But you do know that how I see it is that everything is taken from you. So the person that you attract into your life is a version of you in the female form. That's how I look at it now. So if your female inside of you is healed, and she is expressing herself, which is, we have these two sides, the female male side. The more that you heal that wounded feminine inside of you, wounded male inside of you, whatever these areas of your expression are, if the expression is limited, where the female is concerned, then you're gonna see the version of her in front of you.
And that version of her may be she could be the most gentlest person you've met in your life, and maybe that's because that's where you're at now, and you don't need that harshness anymore. And this is the stage that you're going through. Yeah.
And if I do, let me say that if I do, then I can I can change the programs, right? I can edit the system, so I don't have to experience that kind of stuff, right? It just means that you're increasing your light all the time inside of you by healing whatever unconscious wounds show up, until they no longer have a need to play out in your life, whatever the addictions are.
Gosh, okay, so I mean, obviously you do, business is one of the sort of mentorings that you do as well, which is interesting. Is that more of a case of trying to live into more, going to purpose of what your purpose is?
You're looking at, for me, when I work with people in business, usually it's the inner child stuff, right? It's there's always going to be trauma, right? They're carrying trauma. One thing that we got to clear, what needs to be said first of all, is actually, if we replay this whole thing, if you are carrying trauma in your body, if you're carrying a lot of trauma in your body, then you're not going to be able to see straight. because you're going to be influenced by the pain that you're carrying. Right, so the trauma has to be dealt with inside of you, right, which is the incomplete experience of the traumas, right, that your body, the body stores. Once those start to clean up inside of you, then people can start to relax and they can feel more of themselves. Then you start looking at, okay, where am I going in my life, or how come the universe is cruel, or how come the universe is like this? Because you've created it like that, right? So you somehow, in the magical thinking of your mind, have created a universe where God, the God that you have, isn't a good God, right? So you get to look at all of that and you get to change the whole structure of all of these thoughts in your brain. Because these thoughts, again, these themes have lived out. You probably held onto these themes in different lifetimes and you've carried it forward. You know, so, or you could be in a universe that has its own theme playing, right? That it's you know, like we're all slaves, or these kind of, wherever the thing is. Your goal is to always remove all the contracts that you carry, whoever they're with, and you must always look at where are you giving your power away unconsciously, and bring back your own power. Yeah.
I think you know when you're in your own power because you're doing what you love to do. I think you know when you're in your own power because you just, you just know what this is here, what you came to do, and you're living your best self. Even though it's challenging, don't get me wrong, it's always going to be challenging. Yeah. But nothing that you can't overcome. And yeah, you're on a different road then, and it takes time to get to that point. It might take a whole heap of shit that you've got to go through to get, and it might not. And then part of it may be a very simple journey. Maybe that's not what it's about this lifetime. But I think for a lot of us, you know, that whole thing of like, am I living in purpose? I think a lot of us. I think probably, can I answer that now, is saying that we're all in purpose right at this moment, but it may not be what you really want to do. I think
so. Yeah. We're all coming into purpose because we all know, right? We're moving into the 5D. We are in the 5D, and it's all about purpose. It's all about service now. So even though a lot of us have probably utilized this time to really heal ourselves, because that was what was demanded, right, over the last 2 years. I think that everything was shut down, so everybody would have to look deep inside of themselves and look at what's really going on with you. Because this 5D, it's like a good reflection of ourselves. The more that we're standing up in our light, the more then it's a reflection of the new earth. That's how I see that.
No, that's interesting. That is, yeah, totally. It's like, well, I mean, even like myself, even doing these interviews, I am getting to the end of my time doing them, and right. I've felt it for so long, and But to get to the point of what I really wanted to do, which is a spiritual news network called the International Spiritual News Network. I didn't think I wanted to do that. I honestly didn't. Yeah. But it's funny how things change and can change, and you see actually this is a really good goddamn something. This is really what you want to do. But it took me a lot of pain to get to that point, to realize that, and I would never have. I don't think at this point I would change anything, because I'm pretty sure actually this is exactly the push I need. So if that helps anyone just by sharing that, I don't know. I hope it does.
Yeah. I think for you, right, for anybody, right, you it's like you're ready for a new chapter, right, because you're the version of you is ready for the version of Kevin to come forward. A new chapter, I think, right? A new chapter of your life.
Yes. And sometimes these new chapters aren't what we're doing now. Or they're kind of related, but they're on the outside it can look very different. It will feel very different if if I was to stop doing this now and do what I'm going to be doing soon. But okay. And we've got... Gosh, what other ones? What other ones are you that people do you think would find? Oh, actually, there is a course that you've got that you're about to start
the Healers
as well.
Course, right?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
It is, the Healers Course. That's that's going to be level 1 and 2, and it's going to teach people how to become comfortable working with themselves, right? Because while you recognize that this is energy that you're working with, that your energy, that it's kind of taking away the. I don't want it to be like. I want it to be really simple for people, that they just recognize that it's an energy. Yeah, even when it goes like to level 2, and it comes to like other things that we deal with, like disease and all these things, imbalances, right? And just to recognize that when you become comfortable working with the wounding that you're carrying, the wounding takes care of the past lives. The wounding takes care of the past lives. And once the wounds, however long you work on the wounding, you're resolving the past life stuff that you're carrying. It's all connected. Yeah, it's all connected. Yeah. It's all because all this wounding that we carry, and there's lots of wounding, right? There's tons of it. But when you become familiar with it and comfortable dealing with it, again, it's like you're then taking it out for a test run. How's your reality, right? How does your reality meet you? Is it fear-based? Is it love-based? The goal is always going to be to move towards love, and that means you've got to resolve all those places in you that are not holding that love within. The rage, the anger, the repressed anger, the abandonment, the fear, the terror, the grief, the sorrow, the sadness, the shock, numbness, and horror. That's trauma related, right? Anybody who's experienced trauma, I've experienced a lot of it. What changed my life for me was in the beginning when I was a child at 2 years old, I was heavily traumatized, which changed the direction of my life. And that was karmic. There was no way that I could have understood that. But everything happened to wake me up into who I am.
And have you forgiven anyone that did you wrong?
Yeah. But really, and sometimes I'll be honest, sometimes it comes up, right, Kevin? It comes up inside of me, where because I'm around people who are not awake in my family. So it's amazing because they'll try and pull you into the dysfunctionality that they carry, which means then you have to step up even more, and you have to keep cleaning out all the areas of you that you felt that you had dealt with before. So it's always like constantly you're facing yourself, right? Because they're all versions of you. So the more that you keep stepping up into that vibration of love and cleaning out any kind of like triggers that somebody could use, because I have that all the time here. Because you're living with a family, right? They're gonna try do everything to pull you into their stuff. If they're coming from the wounded place of trauma, their contract may be that we're here to remind you that you're optimal. Yeah, and sometimes you forget that. You're human. You can go into the criticism and go, oh yeah, what a bunch of whatever. But then it's always good to work through it.
I've always said that. Oh, well, this has always been my thought of it. That people around you, who would never look at any of the stuff that we're discussing, or would never, from our perspective, become awakened, right? And you know what? That's exactly what they came here to do. If they didn't do what they were doing, then you wouldn't be able to have the opposing opinion,
right? Yeah, they all got a part in this whole tapestry of life. Right? Everybody's got their part.
It's perfect, and that's why I say, I hear a lot, a lot of people say, saying that, one day it'll just be, we'll all be at this, not at an awakened level of some sort. But I don't think, well, I might be wrong saying this, but I don't think the souls like us that come here, I don't think we want that. We wouldn't be here if it was that's what we wanted right now. It's all the opposite to that. Maybe leading to that, right? Maybe, right? With free will, right. But it's not. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's all. Well, yeah. who knows? I mean, maybe that's what we want to lead to. Maybe we do want to lead to that. Maybe we enjoyed it so much that we don't want it to go. Or maybe I do.
Probably, yeah. Probably.
Don't get that nice.
You know, it's
keep it, rock and roll. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like Dolores Cannon says, right? Convoluted universe, very convoluted.
Yeah.
Completely convoluted.
Yeah, it really is. And I think what your work does is it's all about healing the now, and how and as you said there, how that ripples out to everything that may be affecting the now, past, present, and future. So okay, so that course that you're talking about, that's the wounded. Oh no, it's not. It's the Ignite the Healer course that's on your website.
It is Ignite the inner healer, within you, because there is a healer within everyone that's dormant, right? Until it becomes more awake, and they start to realize that.
And that course, if you were just to sort of say that course in a nutshell, basically, people attracted to that course would learn to
deal with their own dysfunction. Why are they the way they are, or why are they not in love with who they are? Right? Love is a journey, right? It's a journey. It's a journey. It's like, it's such a journey, right? To step into that place of love, because you're always going to be dealing with parts of you all the time that don't love you. That they don't look at self-love as like a most important thing. Why? Because they're still looking at it from mother, mommy and daddy. But when the more that you heal, the more you realize that only you can ever give that love to yourself. Nobody could give it to you. No partner can give it to you. As much as they tell you they love you, you are the one who have to feel it inside that, man, I'm self-sustainable. That's all that matters.
Yes, and nothing external can rock the internal.
Right.
If you come from the right place, because it's all going to get rocked from the outside, isn't it? People are going to pass on.
It is. It's always.
People are going to leave. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Do you know what I mean? And we're always going to be, I say, tested.
Economy crashes, right? Yeah. We're always going through it until we become stable inside ourselves, and right, that you can survive anything, right? So all of the things that I've been through, not being able to walk, everything, I've always remained solid. That's probably
you've always known that you're more than your body, that there's this eternal foreverness that's within you, that always has been, always will be,
right?
And love is the most important thing to that, as you say, to be learning. And even though we don't always come from that space, I don't, do you know what I mean? But it is where we should be heading to.
Yeah, it's like love for me is like you're undoing everything that you were ever taught about love that has distanced you from the love that you are. That's how I feel. You're removing all these levels of teachings or illusions or false doctrines, whatever it is, so that you can come back to who you are.
Absolutely. Now, people on the website, I think there's different tiers that you offer. You do like silver, gold.
I do, yeah.
And bronze.
So they can use those hours, right? They can apply it to working with me. They want to work an hour with me, or it depends on how long they need when they work with me, right? So it's affordable. It's all been done so it's affordable for people, and we really want to help people out. Yeah.
That's a good idea. So you've done it. You've broken down the amount of hours that people can buy, and that was obviously they can't. This is on a Pacific topic that they come into you with.
They can use it towards past lives if they want to for an hour. They can, but the business mentoring is totally separate to that. It's all designed to it's all mapped out on the website.
No, I get that. Yeah, and what we're going to do here, we've been linking the website on the screen. Of course, if you go to show more below this video, just show more, and there'll be all the links to your all your social media platforms, the website, everything that's related to yourself to get in contact. And Yeah, what would you say is an important message in general then? Because we've covered a lot here, but is there, obviously we're
Yeah,
getting to the end of the show here right now, and what would you say is
no
an
problem.
important message?
The important message I want to put out is that I don't put anything in you, right? I don't put anything in you. There's nothing that I'm putting in you. All I'm doing is holding space for you to remove all the like the levels of what we call it, perceptions that you carry that are not true about yourself. That's all we're doing. We're just we're helping you understand the vehicle that you are, so you can drive it more better with more performance.
Well, Sunil, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for being honest about, just sort of everything that you've talked about your personal life as well, which is helpful for people to
Yeah.
hear your experience and to know they're not
Yeah.
alone as well. So just thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Kevin. Right? I mean, if people can realize, look, if I lost the ability to walk when I was like 30, but I was able to do, with all the work that I've done, I can walk without using a wheelchair or a motorbike, right? I can walk I can walk with a stick. So my life could have gone either way, but the courage inside of me allowed me to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just have the courage to keep moving forward and keep standing up. Yeah.
Wonderful. And I'm ending it there, but there's almost another question there. I mean, where would you like to take? Do you see yourself? Do you sort of look at the future and think, I think I'm going to head towards that direction, or I'm going to go towards this, or is there anything that's sort of pulling you? I mean, of course, you've got this great work that you're doing.
I think the hits that I get is that they want me to. I'm being guided, right, to take this out into the workplace, do trainings with people, right, and perhaps write a book, about what I do, because I have this. I remember once I had an astrology reading with a guy, and he said, "It's written everywhere in your chart that you're a transformer. It's written everywhere that I look. It says transformer." So it's holding that light, right? We're not wanting to put anything in you, but teach you how you can remove whatever's inside of you that is stopping you from stepping into the greatness of who you are.
Thank you for that. Well, Sunil, thank you for joining us, and take care.
Thanks, Kevin. You're welcome.